Hey guys, Angus here with another Airsoft video review for you guys today. Today we're going to be taking a look at the BlackWater BW1911 R2 CO2 blowback Airsoft pistol with obviously full BlackWater trades. Now if you're interested in picking up this pretty solid and awesome, unique looking 1911, you can pick it up at AirsoftStation.com for about $115. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and hop directly into this review. As always, let's start off the review by going over the gun's packaging. Traditional of anything licensed by Cybergun, the box is very flashy with some overblown stats. When you open up the box, this is what you should see. There'll be paperwork on top, but overall the gun's packaged very nicely in some thick gray styrofoam. Inside the box, you'll have numerous pieces of paperwork, including a very simple manual, a Palco Sports warranty card, and also sort of a little advertisement for what appears to be an online game. Then you'll have a small box of 0.2 gram BBs, as well as a large Allen key for changing your CO2. And of course, your BlackWater BW1911 pistol itself, as well as its 16 round metal magazine. Now out of the box, this gun is pretty cool and unique looking, as you can obviously tell. That's basically what it is. It's just a unique 1911 with fancy grips on it. Just so you know, obviously BlackWater doesn't actually make the gun. I do believe it's actually made by KJW, just licensed through Cybergun with full BlackWater trades. We'll take a look at in a moment there. As far as external construction goes, this pistol is essentially entirely constructed of metal. Your outer barrel's metal, slides metal, iron sights are metal, hammers metal, slide locks metal, lower frames metal, triggers metal, etc. The only real plastic piece on this gun would be the grips there, which yes, they look rather unique, but they're just made of a cheaper quality plastic and could easily be swapped out if you didn't like the look of them on there. So entire metal construction, the other one plastic piece being that big orange tip on the front of the barrel there is just a cheap piece of plastic attached. I'm not quite sure if there are threads on this. Obviously the ant starring in the video here. Now as far as the magazine goes, that's also constructed of metal with two plastic pieces, the base foot as well as the lip up top, and we'll take a look at them later. Essentially though, external construction very solid, a full metal pistol. If you're looking for something like that without any plastic cheaper parts, this will certainly be a nice gun. As far as those BlackWater trades go, they essentially cover the entire slide of the 1911. As you can see, painted on, going down from left to right in my case, we have R2 as well as a large BlackWater logo and BW1911 on the back. On the opposite side of the slide, you'll just find caliber 6mm, a serial number, as well as BW1911 R2 as well. Overall, the trades look rather nice right now. It's really cool. You have the big BlackWater logo on there, but these aren't engraved. They're simply painted on, meaning that over time, they probably will fade off, unfortunately. Talking a little bit more about externals, I just wanted to give you a quick glimpse of a unique area of the gun down here in the lower frame where the grips are. Obviously, you have these very unique looking grips, which give the gun a kind of cool, interesting look to it. They're pretty comfortable as well. You'll also find an interesting chrome trigger, your magazine release, and an attachment point for a pistol lanyard shown here. So this is a pretty interesting area of the gun. Now moving away from externals and actually getting into some of this gun's features, to me on a gas weapon, there's no more important feature than the weapon's magazine, because obviously that's where the gas is held, in this case, of course. Now, just very quickly, like I stated earlier, as far as construction goes, the magazine is entirely metal, obviously, to channel the CO2, with the exception of the lip up top. The lip's constructed of a fairly solid plastic, which I don't think will break, but just be very careful with it because you don't want that to snap off and therefore render the magazine useless. It's the only fragile piece of the magazine. Now obviously this mag here holds two purposes, to house your CO2 as well as hold the BBs that will be fired out of the gun. Talking about CO2, it's a very simple change out process. Basically you take that large included Allen key, unscrew this down here. At that point you could empty out the old CO2 cartridge, pop in a new one, and at that point tighten it in like so. It's a very simple process, so you don't need me to demonstrate it all to understand, and you could definitely do it in the field, under fire even if you really had to. As far as housing BBs goes, this magazine is a 15 to 16 round mag, kind of the standard for 1911 capacity, and basically the usual for pistols anyway. As far as loading the magazine goes, first you want to pull this spring down. You can lock it forward by tilting it so that it points outward. Just be careful when you do that. You do have to make sure it lines up perfectly with the BBs again, otherwise they won't feed properly in the gun. That being said, otherwise the magazine feeds pretty darn well. Really no issues as far as that is concerned. Now obviously putting the magazine in the gun is simple and a no-brainer. Just something to point out though, it's already begun to show a little bit of wear and have some paint scraped off, showing that although it looks beautiful out of the box, after extended use, even after a couple times here, I think I've put the mag in 5 times, it's already starting to show wear. When you go to put it in, make sure you really push it inward, because I've noticed if you don't take that extra time to really snap it in, it's actually loose and not pushed in all the way. So just make sure you hear a secure lock when it enters. Now with the mag inserted, obviously you can go ahead and fire the gun. BBs will actually come out. This is a blowback weapon, semi-automatic, that does use the blowback to cycle BBs in, so make sure you cock it when you first put the mag in. As far as kick goes, this gun actually has a pretty impressive kick, as is typical of CO2 blowbacks. It's got a pretty powerful kick, obviously not comparable to a real gun, but as far as airsoft weapons go, you definitely do feel it. Now after that bit of shooting there, you may have noticed that after the last shot, the slide locked back. Obviously this 1911 is equipped with a realistic functional slide lock. This is nice because A, it's a realistic feature, and B, it also allows you to know when you're out of BBs in the mag. When you fire the last round, the slide will lock back. In order to release it, simply press down on the slide lock here, and the slide will snap forward with a pretty nice clack. Nice realistic feature. As far as iron sights go, the iron sights on this 1911 are just your standard pistol sights. Neither of them are adjustable, and your rear sight, I call it the pyramid sight, being two bricks slightly slanted with a slit in the middle to line up with your front sight, which is simply just a sight post. These iron sights, although they're not adjustable, are pretty accurate to the gun's stock. Just in my accuracy test, I found them to be very accurate. They're also nicely painted with bright white dots, making them easy to acquire in a darker situation when you raise the gun up and gotta find your sights quick. Overall, the iron sights are accurate to the gun, and really nothing to complain about there. Speaking of accuracy, we should really talk about this gun's adjustable hop-up unit, which is accessible by disassembling the gun, popping the slide off. In order to do this, it's pretty simple. First, have your magazine removed, and at that point, you want to cock the slide back. Keep in mind this is much easier to do when you don't have to do it in front of a camera. At that point, you want to push from the other side and remove the slide lock. This is a real pain, and also, as you can see by my thumb, very sharp and hard to do. I'd recommend you have a small tool to pop it out, so let me do this off camera very quickly. Alright, and here we are. Once that's out, the slide will simply come forward and reveal your hop-up unit underneath. And here we have the 1911's hop-up unit, and obviously the gear you'd turn to increase or decrease the hop on the weapon. It's this small gear right inside there. It's a little bit hard to access, so therefore I'd recommend keeping a tiny little Allen key with you so you can reach in and kind of turn it with that, as at least my fingers were a little too big to squeeze in there. Overall, the hop unit on this gun was actually amazing. I thought it was very great. It put just enough hop on the .25 gram BBs to send them down range perfectly accurately, stayed in the same grouping, so overall I thought this hop-up was very effective, albeit a little bit difficult to access, meaning you really have to wedge that slide lock out. Now as far as the gun's safety goes, it's located here on the left side of the weapon and is typical of what you'd find on your standard Airsoft 1911. When it's pushed as it is facing now, more towards the ground and also with that bright red dot exposed, obviously the weapon is capable of firing. If you were to push it upward like so, with a quick snap, the weapon is now unsafe and obviously the gun cannot fire. The safety is also identically located on the right side of the weapon in the same spot. When it's flipped upward, again it's unsafe, and flipping it down like so, it placed the gun back on fire. Overall, the safety is in a good position because it's very easy to access. Say you needed to quickly snap the gun unsafe to prevent yourself from, say, firing around at a safe area, you can easily do it by just a quick snap of the thumb. This 1911 does have a nice 20mm tactical rail located on the front of its lower frame, so you can go ahead and attach laser or flashlight or anything like that you want to put on there. It's just a tiny little rail, but hey, that customization option is always nice. Alright, and with that last little bit there about the weapon's tiny tactical rail, we can go ahead and hop into the final conclusion of this review. Overall, I pretty much did like the gun. It's got a very solid feel to it with that full metal build, exception of the grips. The whole unique look of it's very nice. I prefer unique looking guns, and it certainly is a different looking 1911. The BlackWater trades are a nice touch, with the exception that they probably will fade over time, so keep that in mind. And also, as far as performance goes, if you watched our other video, I thought this gun had a very nice performance on it. A couple things to comment on. I already talked about the trades fading off, also CO2 efficiency. This gun is not the most CO2 efficient weapon in the world. I noticed it runs out of CO2 rather quickly, even out on these hot temperature days like now, it's 90 degrees. I can only imagine how it would hold up in the winter. Also, the disassembly, it's a very simple process. Maybe that slide lock will break in over time, but frankly, I notice each time you pop it out, it does wear at the paint a little bit, and also, as you saw my thumb earlier, cut you a slight bit. So keep that in mind. A couple issues there. Otherwise, though, I think the gun is built rather solidly. CO2 is easy to change. You obviously do have a good magazine capacity, and like I said, a good performance with some pretty accurate to the gun iron sights. Overall, if you're looking for a solid weapon to have out in the field or even CQB, I think this would be a very cool 1911. The kick on it is very nice. If you're looking for something with a little bit more powerful kick, as far as airsoft goes, this could be a nice option. So with that being said, this has been Deathcore Airsoft's review of the BlackWater BW1911 R2 or R squared, perhaps I've been saying it wrong the whole time, CO2 blowback airsoft pistol, probably by KJW. So thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe.